Hello everyone, Jester Bell is back, and I've had a busy day today, but not too busy that I couldn't watch Marvel's What If. Now, if you've been following the channel, you know that I've had a lot of problems with Marvel and DC lately, and that I haven't been happy with a lot of the stuff they've been putting out. I didn't like Loki. I was on the negative side of Loki. I know some people liked that show. I know some people were with me and hated that show. I'm kind of a battered Marvel wife. I have to come back and see what they've got going on, and I was curious about that What If show, and I had to see what was going on. And I let myself just have a little bit of hope. I'm like, well, the trailers look good. I just want to try it out. And so I watched the first episode this morning, and I actually liked it. You know, it was pretty good. It was, very good if you compare it to the rest of Marvel animation. So I think I'll start there when talking about the show. So for those of you who don't know, Marvel animation has just gone down the tubes. Most of you probably don't watch anything that's animated from Marvel that's been made since 2012. So, I mean, animated series from Marvel used to be really great. They used to be stuff adults could enjoy as well as kids. They used to be deep. They used to have a good production value. Think the X-Men 90s and Spider-Man and Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. But Disney came along, and I guess they just wanted cheaper output, so they canceled Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and they made Avengers Assemble. They made what was it, Secret Empire, and Ultimate Spider-Man, and Hulk and the Agents of Smash. I bet you don't even remember that show. They made a lot of shows that they just kept churning out with the poorest animation that I've ever seen. They recently made a Spider-Man cartoon with just horribly awful animation. In addition to having horrible animation, none of the shows had good character development, no story. They just kind of exist to be there. They're not there if you're there for a story. They kind of exist just for advertisements for more Marvel stuff. So, very disappointing output from Marvel in the animation department, which is why I was pleasantly surprised with What If, is that it has very good animation. It's a kind of a combination, I would say, I need to watch it again, but it's kind of a combination of CGI and some traditional animation thrown in there. The frame rate is very good. It looks very crisp. The characters are very expressive, and it was really nice to watch, and it really has some good action in it. And so yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that they put in the production value into the show in the animation department. What I also was surprised on is it actually had some good storytelling. It is flawed, and I'll get into some of those flaws, but it's not, I would not say, it's not Batman the Animated Series, it's not X-Men, it's not on the level of Earth's Mightiest Heroes or any of the classic shows, I would say, yet. But it was thoughtful in what it was doing. So the first episode is the question, what if Peggy Carter became Captain America, aka Captain Britain, and Steve Rogers became Iron Man? So that's the big what if question. And so it shows Peggy basically going through the struggles she would have gone through becoming Captain Britain, how she isn't looked down upon by her size, but by her gender, which I'll talk about that in a second. And Steve Rogers needs to find his value in something else now, which becomes the Iron Man suit and being Iron Man now that he didn't get the serum. Now, the feminist thing in it, very light, but it worked for me because that is how she would have been received as a super soldier back then in the 1940s. I liked that they kept her relationship with Steve Rogers, and he's still her number one love interest. They still have that relationship going on, and I appreciated that a lot. It did remind me, now that I think about it, it did remind me a lot of Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor from the first movie, thank goodness, and not the second one. But I thought that relationship was actually good, specifically in the first Wonder Woman. So I thought that was good. I like it that so many of the original actors are back. Haley Atwell was back for Peggy Carter in this. Chris Evans did not come back as Captain America, which was disappointing. But oh well with that. And it kind of, asks the question. So Peggy gets kind of she kind of is able to get to a better place for herself and gain respect as Captain Britain, even though she's a woman. But Steve Rogers, I thought it was interesting that they went here, is still feeling a bit inferior because he never got to bulk up. He never got to go to the war in the way he thought he did. And now Iron Man is what is now what makes him be able to fight in the war. And I thought that was interesting that he wouldn't be satisfied by that, because I remember the argument with Tony Stark and Steve in the Avengers, where he says, "Take off the suit of armor, and what are you?" And Tony says, "Everything special of you came out of a bottle." So it's interesting how Steve would react to that. I feel, though, that the theme of the first Captain America, that it's not the serum, it's it's the who the person is on the inside that is strengthened by the serum. So it's all about the man inside. It's not about his bulk or his ability to fight. That theme isn't here, and it isn't here with the way that Steve reacts to it, and I would be interested if people would criticize that now with Steve going on a different path, it just puts him in a position where he still feels inferior when he shouldn't, when he should be glad that he has found a way to fight in the war. But I think you can look at that either way. The only other criticism I would have with the show is that I felt like it was a bit rushed, and that's not entirely the fault of the show. It's the fault of, this is an episode that's basically trying to rewrite and reimagine an entire movie in 30 minutes. So there were some things, spoilers, at the very end of the episode, for example, Peggy goes through the Tesseract portal, and that is how she comes into current times. Basically, her journey into current times was different than Captain America's. And it's all just very quick, the way she comes to our time. She's recognized by Nick Fury and Hawkeye. They realize that she's come out of time. She realizes that she's come out of time. And so it's very quick. It's very rushed in the characters' reactions and how they take all this in. But I understand why that is, because they just didn't have enough time to reimagine an entire movie in 30 minutes. So overall, I was very entertained with this show. I don't think it's groundbreaking as of yet. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I just thought it was just kind of back to just some Marvel fun, mixing things up, and I'm looking forward to the episodes. I know that they have one of What If Gamora became Thanos. I think there's one, What If Thor never went on his redemption, which I think would be really interesting to watch. So far, the production value is pretty high, and I think that this looks pretty good so far. I don't think that there's a whole lot that they could do to mess this up, because it's distant. It's put off to the side from the MCU, so it's not going to fix anything. But there's not really a whole lot they can do to wreck anything. I think as long as it remains entertaining, then it's going to be good. So, did you watch What If? Let me know what you think about in the comments. I will do a more in-depth review later on Warrior Woman 91's channel. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more updates and reviews. I'm going to have more coming up in the future, and I'll see you next time.